A sister's cruel taunt shatters a Thanksgiving gala, exposing buried secrets. Eira Harper, 60. A retired nurse faces her family's betrayal. Huckleberry pies scent the frosty Montana barn, but a hidden note threatens to tear them apart. Unlike revenge tales, forgiveness heals these wounds. Can dialogue mend their bonds? Discover emotional family stories where compassion triumphs. What family secrets have you faced? Join us to find out. The barn glows under a net of string lights, their soft amber flickering against the frosty Montana night. Pine tables sag under the weight of roasted turkey sage, stuffing, and huckleberry pies, their tart sweetness mingling with the crisp November air. Laughter ripples through the crowd, glasses clinking, as the Thanksgiving gala hums with community pride. The wooden beams, weathered by decades of ranch life, hold the warmth of a hearth fire, but a chill lingers at the edges where frost etches the windows like lace. I stand near the buffet, a tray of pie slices balanced in my hands, my apron stiff against my dress. My fingers brush the silver locket at my neck. Mom's locket, heavy with her memory. 60 years old, and I'm still serving, still invisible. The crowd parts, and there's Ruth, my younger sister, her red dress catching the light like a warning. She's laughing with Norman, her husband, his suit too crisp for this rugged ranch. Clara, their daughter, hovers nearby, her eyes darting to me then away. Walter, my husband, is somewhere in the barn, his steady presence a quiet anchor I can't find right now. Eira still playing Waitress. Ruth's voice cuts through the chatter sharp as a November wind. Heads turn eyes glinting with curiosity. You'd think a nurse would aim higher by now. The tray trembles in my hands, pie slices wobbling. My cheeks burn, but I force a smile, the kind Mom taught me to wear through pain. Just helping out Ruth, I say, my voice steady despite the sting. It's Thanksgiving. Community matters. Ruth snorts, sipping her wine. Community? You're the help, dear. Norman chuckles, his hand on her arm, while Clara flinches, her fingers twisting her napkin. The crowd murmurs a mix of pity and amusement, and I feel the weight of their stares, each one a reminder of the rift that's grown between me and my family since Mom's death. I set the tray down, my hands shaking, and catch Walter's eye across the barn. He's by the hearth, his flannel shirt rolled up his gray eyes, calm but sharp. He nods a silent promise, and my heart steadies. What's he planning? He's been quiet all week, his usual warmth laced with something unspoken. Eira, you're a saint, says Mrs. Larson, an elderly neighbor grabbing a pie slice. This gala's perfect thanks to you. Her kindness softens the ache, but Ruth's words echo, slicing deeper than I want to admit. I touch the locket again. Mom's face flashing in my mind. Her frail hands, her whispered thanks when I nursed her through those final months. Ruth was rarely there, always busy, but I carried the load unthanked by family. Let me help, Walter says, appearing at my side, his calloused hand brushing mine. His voice is low, warm, but there's an edge like he's holding back a storm. I'm fine, I lie, forcing another smile. Just Ruth being Ruth. She's wrong, he says firmly, his eyes locked on mine. You're more than they see. Trust me tonight. I nod, curiosity flickering through the hurt. What's he got up his sleeve? He squeezes my hand and moves back to the crowd, leaving me with the locket's weight and a spark of hope. In my mind, I'm back in Mom's room, her labored breathing filling the silence as I adjusted her pillows night after night. I gave everything my time, my heart, while Ruth threw parties and Norman chased deals. They called me duty-bound, but never thanked me. Now, in this barn, I'm just the waitress my sacrifices erased. The ache of that loss, the loneliness of being unseen, presses against my ribs. I want to scream to tell them what I carried, but Mom's voice whispers, "Patience, Eira, love endures." Can I forgive them? Ruth's cruelty? Norman's arrogance? Clara's silence? They've built a wall I don't know how to climb. Yet family bonds frayed as they are tug at me. I think of Mom's locket, her belief in second chances. Maybe forgiveness is possible, but it feels like a mountain tonight. I pick up the tray again, the pie slice is steady now, and weave through the crowd. Ruth's laugh grates, but I focus on Walter's nod, his hidden plan. Something's coming, and I'm caught between dread and hope. What's he planning? The question hums a thread of mystery pulling me forward. The barn hums with warmth. its string lights casting a golden haze over pine tables strewn with turkey bones and half-eaten huckleberry pies. Frost etches the windows, framing the Montana night's inky sprawl where stars prick through the cold. The hearth crackles its glow, a steady pulse against the chatter of neighbors swapping stories of harvests and hunts. The air carries sage and butter, a Thanksgiving comfort that feels like home, but not quite mine tonight. I weave through the crowd, a pitcher of wine in my hands, my apron still stiff from starch. The locket at my neck swings gently, Mom's memory a quiet weight. Ruth's Waitress jab from earlier stings, but I push it down, pouring Merlot for Mr. Thompson, who's droning about his new tractor. Norman's voice booms nearby, his suit gleaming under the lights as he brags about his latest deal, a feed store expansion that puts this ranch to shame. The crowd nods impressed, but I catch the strain in his smile, like he's selling more than a story. "Ira, you're a natural," Norman says, raising his glass, his tone too loud, too bright. "Always serving, aren't you? Like it's your calling." The words land like a slap dressed up as a compliment. I force a smile, my lips tight, and pour for him. "Just keeping things moving." I say my voice, even though my pulse quickens. Ruth beside him smirks, her red dress a slash of color in the crowd. Still using that old flip phone era, she adds her laugh sharp. "You're practically a relic." My fingers fumble in my apron pocket, brushing the smartphone Walter got me last year. I'm still learning it. Texts take forever, and the camera's a mystery. The crowd chuckles, and I feel their eyes judging, measuring. Clara, standing behind Ruth, winces her hands, twisting her scarf. She opens her mouth, then shuts it, her glance darting to me, then away. "Why is she so skittish?" I manage, I say, forcing a laugh, but the inadequacy burns. 60 years old, and I'm outdated, out of place in my own family. I set the pitcher down, my hands unsteady, and try to text Clara a quick, "You okay?" The screen blurs, my fingers clumsy, and the message sends half-finished. A kid nearby snickers, and Ruth's smirk widens. "Mom, leave her alone," Clara says softly, her voice barely cutting through the noise. Ruth rolls her eyes. "Oh, Clara, don't be so sensitive. Eira's fine, aren't you?" I nod, my smile a mask, but inside I'm shrinking. Mom's voice echoes in my head. "You're enough, Eira." But am I? Ruth's always been the bright one, the one who dazzled while I stayed steady, nursing Mom, raising a family, keeping this ranch alive. Now I'm just the waitress, the relic unseen in a room full of people. Walter appears, carving the last of the turkey at a nearby table, his knife steady against the bird's golden skin. He catches my eye, his gray gaze warm, and I feel a flicker of strength. He's been my rock for 30 years, but tonight his quiet intensity feels different, like he's waiting for the right moment. "Need a hand?" he asks, wiping his hands on a towel, his voice low. "I'm good," I say, but my throat tightens. He leans closer, whispering, "You're more than they know, Ev." His words are a lifeline pulling me from the edge of doubt. I pour another glass, my hands steadier now, but Clara's avoidance gnaws at me. She's always been the soft one, the one who'd hug me after Mom's funeral, but tonight she's a shadow slipping away. Why is she avoiding me? The question lingers, a knot of unease in my chest. In my mind, I'm alone in this barn, the laughter fading, the lights dimming. Loneliness creeps in the kind that hits when you're surrounded, but unseen, a weight too many my age carry. I think of Mom, her belief in family, her insistence that love outlasts pain. I want to believe her, to hold on to the bonds that tie me to Ruth, to Clara, even to Norman. They're worth enduring this hurt, aren't they? I glance at Ruth, her laugh grating, and choose patience over anger. She's hurting too in her way, maybe that's why she lashes out. Compassion stirs faint but real, and I hold on to it, a thread to guide me through this night. The barn pulses with life, its crowded warmth a stark contrast to the frosty Montana night pressing against the windows. Sage and butter linger in the air, weaving through the scent of huckleberry pies stacked on pine tables, their flaky crusts a nod to Mom's recipe. String lights flicker overhead, casting shadows that dance across weathered beams, while the hearth's glow fights the November chill. Neighbors laugh, their voices rising over clinking glasses, a Thanksgiving symphony that should feel like home, but doesn't tonight. I stand by the buffet, a tray of wine glasses in my hands, their crystal edges catching the light. My apron pulls tight across my chest, Mom's locket cool against my skin. Ruth's relic jab from earlier burns, and Clara's avoidance gnaws at me. I scan the crowd for her, but she's tucked behind Norman, her scarf twisted in her fingers. Norman's still boasting his voice, carrying over the din, something about a new truck that outshines this old ranch. The crowd nods, but I see the cracks, his too tight smile, his restless hands. Eira, you're still at it. Ruth calls her red dress a beacon in the crowd. Her tone is light, but her eyes are sharp, like she's hunting for a weak spot. Living that simple life, pouring wine, baking pies, you're practically a saint. The clinking glasses around us seem to sharpen each chime, amplifying her words. The crowd quiets, heads turning, and I feel their stares, a mix of curiosity and pity. My grip tightens on the tray, the glasses wobbling. Just doing my part, Ruth, I say, my voice calm, but annoyance flares hot and sharp. She's not just mocking me, she's erasing me, my years of nursing, Mom, keeping this family together. Oh, come on, Ruth presses, sipping her wine. You don't get tired of playing the martyr, all that duty must be exhausting. Norman chuckles, his hand on her arm, while Clara shifts her eyes, flicking to me, then down. She opens her mouth, then closes it, silent again. Someone's got to keep things steady, I reply, forcing a smile, though my pulse hammers. The tray feels heavier, like it's carrying every unthanked night I spent at Mom's bedside while Ruth partied. I want to snap to tell her how I carried our family when she wouldn't, but I bite it back. Restraint, not anger, is the way through this. Eira's pies are the heart of this gala, says Mr. Hayes, a rancher grabbing a slice. Your mom's recipe, right? His kindness softens the sting, and I nod. The pie's tart warmth, a reminder of Mom's love, her lessons in patience. Mom's recipe, I confirm, my voice softer now. The crowd murmurs approval, and Ruth's smirk falters just for a moment. I catch Walter's eye across the barn, his flannel shirt rolled up as he stacks plates. He nods, his gray eyes steady, a silent signal to hold on. His quiet strength pulls me back from the edge. Clara, help. Your Aunt Norman says, his tone sharp, but Clara hesitates, her fingers still twisting her scarf. She glances at me. Her eyes conflicted, then looks away. What's holding her back? In my mind, I'm back in Mom's kitchen, her hands guiding mine as we crimped pie crusts, her voice soft. Patience, Eira. Family's worth it. But Ruth's mockery tests that wisdom. I'm not a saint or a martyr, I'm just me trying to hold on to the bonds that fray with every jab. Anger simmers, but I push it down. Choosing restraint. Ruth's hurting too, her barb's a mask for something deeper. Fear, maybe, of being less than she pretends. The caregiving weight presses on me those sleepless nights with Mom that Ruth dismissed. I see it in the eyes of other women here, the over 55s who've carried families unseen. We're the backbone, but it's a lonely role, and Ruth's words make it lonelier. I set the tray down, my hands steadier, and serve another glass. Ruth's laugh grates, but I focus on Walter's nod. Clara's fleeting glance. Something's brewing. Ruth's too smug, Clara's too quiet. The barn feels smaller now, its warmth stifled by the weight of eyes and whispers. Frost clings to the windows, a brittle veil against the Montana night, while string lights flicker like fading stars. The air is thick with sage and spilled wine, the huckleberry pies on pine tables half-eaten, their sweetness soured by tension. The hearth's glow struggles to reach the edges where shadows pool, and the crowd's chatter has dulled to a hum, punctuated by the twang of a guitar, signaling the barn dance. I stand frozen, a tray of empty glasses in my hands, Mom's locket, a cold weight at my neck. Ruth's latest jab, martyr and simple life, still burns her words, a blade slicing deeper with every glance from the crowd. She's across the barn now, her red dress aflare in the dim light, laughing with Norman as if she didn't just gut me in front of everyone. Norman's suit shines, but his boasts about his feed store deal ring hollow, his eyes darting like he's hiding something. Clara hovers nearby, her scarf knotted in her fingers, her gaze flicking to me, then away as if I'm a fire she can't approach. Eira, you're not dancing, Ruth calls, her voice honeyed but venomous, loud enough to turn heads. Oh right, you're too busy serving, always the dutiful one slaving away for the rest of us. The crowd stills the guitar's twang, faltering, and the clink of glasses fades. My heart pounds, anger surging like a river breaking its banks. The tray slips in my hands, glasses crashing to the floor, the shatter echoing in the sudden silence. Faces turn Mrs. Larson, Mr. Hayes' neighbors. I've known for decades, their pity stings worse than Ruth's words. I'm not just the waitress now, I'm the spectacle. Enough, Ruth, I snapped, my voice sharper than I meant, cutting through the barn. I'm not your punching bag. If you've got something to say it plain. The crowd gasps a low ripple of shock. Ruth's smirk freezes her wineglass, pausing mid-sip. Norman steps forward, his hand on her arm, but his smile is strained like he's bracing for a storm. Now, Eira, no need for that, he says, his tone too smooth. Ruth's just teasing. Teasing, I say, my hands trembling as I set the broken tray on a table. She's been tearing me down all night. Why Ruth? What's this really about? Clara flinches, her eyes wide, but she stays silent, her scarf now a twisted rope. Walter moves through the crowd, his flannel shirt rolled up, his gray eyes steady as he reaches my side. He steadies me with a hand on my shoulder, his touch a quiet anchor. "You're okay, Ev," he whispers, but his gaze locks on Ruth, hard and unyielding. Ruth laughs, a brittle sound, but her eyes flicker with something, fear maybe, or shame. "Oh, Eira, don't be so dramatic," she says, tossing her hair. "You're just... you, always playing the victim like you did with Mom." The mention of Mom hits like a punch, and I'm suddenly back in her room 10 years ago, her frail hand in mine as I changed her sheets, her breath shallow. Ruth was too busy then, off with Norman, leaving me to carry the load. The memory fuels my anger, but it also sparks suspicion. Ruth's cruelty isn't just spite, it's envy, isn't it? She's always resented my role with Mom, my steadiness when she couldn't be. "You don't get to talk about Mom," I say, my voice low, trembling with fury. "You weren't there, Ruth. I was." The barn holds its breath, the crowd's eyes darting between us. Ruth's face tightens, her smirk gone, and for a moment I see the crack in her armor, her insecurity, her fear of being less than the sister who held Mom's hand. Norman clears his throat, his hand tightening on Ruth's arm, but he says nothing, his silence louder than his boasts. "Let's dance." Walter says, his voice calm but firm, guiding me away. The guitar picks up and the crowd shifts, eager to escape the tension. But Ruth's flinch, Clara's silence linger in my mind. What's behind Ruth's envy? It's more than just Mom. There's a secret here, and I'm close to it. In my mind, I'm alone again, the barn's warmth fading, loneliness creeping in. Ruth's taunts strip me bare, exposing the isolation of those years with Mom, unthanked, unseen. I'm not just fighting her words, I'm fighting for my place in this family, for the bonds that betrayal threatens to break. I choose truth over revenge, resilience over collapse. But it's a battle. The dance swirls around me, boots stomping to the guitar's rhythm, but I'm rooted, Walter's hand on mine. Ruth's hiding something, and I need to know what. The question burns a spark in the dark, urging me forward. The barn's clamor softens as I slip into a quiet corner, the hearth's glow casting a warm circle against the Montana night. Frost rims the nearby window, framing the dark sprawl of the ranch where stars gleam like scattered coins. Pine tables bear the remnants of Thanksgiving crumbs of huckleberry pie, empty wine glasses, a half-carved turkey. The air holds a faint sweetness, pie and sage mingling with wood smoke, but the crowd's laughter feels distant, muted by the weight of Ruth's taunt. My apron hangs loose now, my hands free but restless, Mom's locket a steady anchor at my neck. I lean against a beam, the wood cool under my palm, and watch the barn dance wind down. Couples sway to a slow guitar, their boots scuffing the floor, while others raise glasses in a Thanksgiving toast, a U.S. tradition that binds this community. Ruth is across the room, her red dress a flicker in the crowd, chatting with Mrs. Larson, her laugh too bright. Norman hovers nearby. His suit creased, his boasts quieter now. Clara stands apart, her scarf loose, her eyes catching mine for a moment before she turns away. Her silence stings, but it's Ruth's victim jab that cuts deepest, her envy laid bare in that flinch when I mentioned Mom. "Still hiding? Eira?" Ruth calls, her voice carrying over the toast's clink. "You're missing the fun. Or is serving all you're good for?" Her tone is lighter now, but the barb lands a reminder of her need to diminish me. The crowd doesn't notice, too caught in the toast, but Clara stiffens her fingers, tightening on her glass. I open my mouth to retort, but Walter appears, his flannel shirt rolled up, his gray eyes calm yet fierce. "She's good for more than you know, Ruth," he says, his voice low but firm, cutting through the chatter. He steps closer, his calloused hand brushing mine, and the crowd's hum fades as I focus on him. "Ev, let's talk." He guides me to the hearth, its warmth easing the chill in my bones. I touch the locket, Mom's memory stirring her frail smile, her whispered thanks when I nursed her. Ruth's absence then, her parties over my vigils, fuels my doubt. Can this family ever heal? Ruth's wrong, Walter says, his voice steady like the ranch itself. "You're the heart of this place, Ev. Always have been. I'm fixing this tonight, you'll see." Fixing it, how I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Hope flickers fragile but real, but doubt lingers. Ruth's envy. Clara's silence. Norman's false front. "There's a rift here I can't bridge alone. Trust me," he says, his hand squeezing mine. "We'll talk, all of us. No more hiding. You deserve better." His words are a vow, and I cling to them, the promise of dialogue, a lifeline through the pain. Clara watches from a distance, her expression unreadable, her scarf now draped over her shoulder. She steps closer, then stops as if caught between loyalties. I pull out my smartphone, still clumsy with it, and try to snap a photo of the hearth's glow, a moment of warmth to hold on to. The screen flashes the image blurry, and I sigh. A young neighbor giggles, and Ruth's voice drifts over. Still struggling with that phone era. I force a smile, pocketing the device. Clara moves nearer, her voice soft. "I can show you how Aunt Ev," she offers, but her eyes dart to Ruth, and she retreats. Her hesitation twists the knife. Why is she so afraid? In my mind, I'm back with Mom, her hand in mine, as I fed her night after night while Ruth chased glamour. The locket's weight reminds me of those unthanked years, the caregiving stress that lingers in my bones. I'm not alone. Other women here over 55 carry that same quiet burden, their sacrifices unseen by families too busy to notice. Loneliness wraps around me, but Walter's promise cuts through it, a spark of hope. "Dialogue," he said. Maybe that's the way forward, not anger, not silence, but words, honest and raw. I want to believe family bonds can mend, that Ruth's envy and Clara's fear can give way to truth. Mom believed in second chances, maybe I can too. I step back into the crowd, Walter at my side, his vow echoing. Ruth's laugh grates, Clara's distance aches, but hope holds me steady. Can Walter fix this? The question hums a fragile thread, pulling me toward the night's unraveling. The barn's warmth fades as the Thanksgiving Gala stretches into the late Montana night. Frost thickens on the windows, turning them opaque, while the string lights dim, casting a muted glow over pine tables, littered with pie crumbs and empty glasses. The hearth's fire has dwindled to embers, its crackle barely audible over the soft murmur of the remaining guests. The air holds a lingering sweetness, huckleberry pie shared in generous slices, a Montana tradition, but the mood is heavy, Ruth's taunts and Walter's cryptic vow hanging like smoke. I stand near the buffet, my apron discarded, Mom's locket cool against my chest. The crowd has thinned, but Ruth lingers, her red dress a stark contrast to the barn's muted tones, chatting with Norman by the hearth. Norman's suit is rumpled now, his boasts silenced, his eyes darting as if he senses a storm. Clara hovers at the edge of the group, her scarf loose, her hands fidgeting. Her avoidance has been a quiet ache all night, but there's something new in her gaze, resolve maybe, or fear. "Ira, you're still here," Ruth says, her voice sharp, cutting through the low hum. "Thought you'd be cleaning up by now like always." Her smile is tight, her eyes glinting with that familiar envy, the insecurity that drives her to wound me. I start to reply, but Clara steps forward, her face pale, her voice trembling but clear. "Mom, stop," she says, and the barn seems to hold its breath. Ruth's smile falters, and Norman shifts his hand on her arm. "Aunt Ev." "I need to tell you something," Clara continues, her eyes locking on mine. My heart stutters, and I nod, stepping closer. Clara pulls a folded note from her pocket, her fingers shaking as she hands it to me. The paper is worn creased from being carried too long. I unfold it, my breath catching as I read her scrawled words. "I told Mom you didn't fund the gala, Aunt Ev. I lied to protect you. I'm sorry." Shock slams into me, sharp and cold, like stepping into a frozen creek. "Clara." "What?" I whisper, my voice barely audible. The note trembles in my hands, the words blurring. "She lied to protect me. From what?" I heard Mom and Dad talking, Clara says, her voice breaking. They were angry about your caregiving, how it made them look bad. Mom wanted to hurt you to make you seem less. I told her you didn't pay for the gala, that it was their money. I thought it did stop her. The barn spins, the crowd's murmurs fading to a dull roar. Ruth's envy, her taunts. It wasn't just spite. It was calculated, fueled by resentment over my role with Mom, my sacrifices she couldn't match. And Clara, sweet Clara, hid the truth to shield me, but her lie fed Ruth's cruelty. Clara, why didn't you tell me? I asked, my voice thick, the note crumpling in my fist. My eyes burned shock, giving way to confusion. How deep is this rift? I was scared, Clara says, tears spilling. Mom's so angry, and Dad, he's not himself. I didn't want you hurt more. Ruth steps forward, her face a mask of indignation. Clara, that's enough? She snaps, her voice icy. You're making a scene. Eira's fine, aren't you? I shake my head, the note still in my hand. No, Ruth, I'm not, I say, my voice steady despite the chaos inside. You've been punishing me for years, haven't you? For Mom, for being there when you weren't. Ruth flinches, her eyes darting to Norman, who looks away, his silence deafening. The crowd watches hushed as the truth hangs between us, raw and jagged. Walter moves to my side, his hand on my shoulder, his gray eyes fierce. We're not done here, he says, his voice low, a promise of more to come. In my mind, I'm back with Mom, her frail hand in mine, the nights I carried alone while Ruth built her perfect life. The note in my hand is proof of that sacrifice, a truth Clara hid out of love and fear. Caregiving broke me in ways I never admitted, its stress a shadow that lingers, shared by so many women, here over 55, who've borne the same load. Clara's confession shocks me, but it also clarifies truth. Not blame is the way forward. I want to lash out to demand answers, but Mom's voice whispers, understand, Eira. Love sees past fear. Clara's tears. Ruth's flinch. They're hurting too. Honesty stings, but it's a start, a crack in the wall between us. I fold the note, my hand steady now, and look at Clara. Thank you, I say, my voice soft. She nods, tears falling, and I know this isn't over. The barn's glow feels distant now, its warmth swallowed by the Montana night's deepening chill. I stand at the edge near a frost-laced window, where the cold seeps through the glass, biting my fingertips. The string lights flicker weakly, casting long shadows across pine tables strewn with pie crusts and crumpled napkins. The hearth's embers pulse faintly, barely holding back the November dark, while the air carries a fading trace of sage and turkey soured by the gala's unraveling. Distant laughter rings hollow, the crowd's energy spent, leaving a quiet that amplifies my heart's heavy beat. I clutch Mom's locket, its silver cold against my palm, my apron long discarded. Clara's note, her confession that she lied to protect me, burns in my pocket. Its words, a jagged truth. Ruth's envy, fueled by my caregiving, drove her to erase me. Ruth is across the barn, her red dress a dim flicker, laughing with a neighbor as if she didn't just shatter my world. Norman stands nearby, his suit sagging, his silence louder than his earlier boasts. Clara's gone, slipped away after her tears, her absence a fresh wound. Eira, you're not joining the prayer, Ruth calls, her voice carrying over the soft hum of a Thanksgiving prayer starting near the hearth. Or are you too busy feeling sorry for yourself? Her laugh is sharp, a needle in the quiet, but the crowd's focused on the prayer, their heads bowed, missing her barb. My chest tightens, anger flaring, but it's drowned by a deeper pain, abandonment, raw and relentless. I turn from the window, my back to the crowd, and let the locket's weight pull me inward. Tears prick my eyes, and I don't fight them, letting them fall in the silence of this lonely corner. The barn fades, and I'm back in Mom's room 10 years ago, her labored breathing filling the dark as I adjusted her pillow, my hands trembling from exhaustion. Night after night, I sat there alone while Ruth partied and Norman chased deals. I was her anchor, her nurse, her daughter, but when she slipped away, no one thanked me. They moved on, leaving me to carry the loss, the weight of those unthanked nights. Why, Mom? I whisper, my voice breaking, tears streaming now. Why was it just me? The locket burns against my skin, a reminder of her frail smile, her whispered, "Thank you, Eira." but it wasn't enough to fill the void left by family who turned away, who called me duty-bound, but never saw my sacrifice. "Ev, you okay?" Walter's voice pulls me back, his flannel shirt brushing my arm as he stands close. His gray eyes are soft, but there's a fire in them, a promise unfulfilled. The prayer hums in the background, words of gratitude that feel empty tonight. No, I admit, my voice thick, wiping my tears. Clara's note, Ruth's hate. It's too much, Walter. I feel abandoned, like I don't belong here in my own family. He nods his hand on mine, steady as the ranch. "You're not alone," he says, his voice low, fierce. "Ruth's wrong and I'm gonna prove it, but you're stronger than this pain, Ev. You always have been." His words stir something resilience buried under the hurt. I think of Mom, her belief in enduring love, her strength even in her final days. I carried her then. I can carry this now. But the pain lingers, a loneliness that's not just mine. I see it in the eyes of other women here over 55 who've nursed parents, raised kids, held families together, only to be dismissed unseen. Caregiving's toll is a silent ache, one Ruth's taunts deepen, one Clara's lie exposed. I don't know if I can keep going," I say, my voice trembling, the locket heavy in my hand. "They don't see me, Walter. They never did." "You don't need their eyes," he says, his grip tightening. "You're enough. Hold on, Ev. We're not done tonight." I nod, tears slowing his words a lifeline. The prayer ends, the crowd's amen, a soft echo, but Ruth's laugh cuts through again, grating. I want to confront her, to demand why she hates me, but Walter's hand keeps me grounded. Self-focus, not anger, is my strength now. Can I endure this? The question hangs a test of my resolve. In my mind, I'm still with Mom, her hand in mine, her love a light in the dark. I survived those nights. I'll survive this one. Resilience stirs faint but growing. And I hold the locket tighter, ready for whatever comes next. The barn's edges blur its dim glow, swallowed by the Montana night's heavy frost. I stand near the hearth, its embers pulsing like a fading heartbeat, casting faint warmth against the November chill. The windows are opaque with ice, the string lights barely flickering over pine tables cluttered with pie tins and wine stains. The Thanksgiving Gala's hum has faded, leaving a quiet hum of stragglers murmuring near the buffet. The air holds a ghost of sage, but the hearth's wood smoke grounds me a steady anchor in the storm of Clara's confession and Ruth's relentless barbs. I adjust a log in the hearth, my hands steady despite the ache in my chest. Mom's locket rests against my skin, but it's the hearth's glow that pulls me back. Its warmth a mirror to memories I can't escape. Ruth is across the barn, her red dress dulled in the low light, laughing with a neighbor, her voice sharp but strained. Norman lingers nearby, his suit, creased his eyes, scanning the room like a man expecting trouble. Clara's still missing her note, a weight in my pocket. Its truth, her lie to protect me, stirring a sadness I can't shake. The barn fades, and I'm in Mom's room 10 years ago, the air thick with antiseptic and her shallow breaths. The bedside lamp cast a pale glow, her frail hand cold in mine as I adjusted her blanket. Ruth stood in the doorway, her face tight, her voice clipped. "You're always here, Eira," she said, her arms crossed, making me look bad. "Mom doesn't need you hovering." "I'm not hovering," I replied, my voice soft, tired. "She needs me, Ruth. You could help, you know." She laughed bitter, her eyes flashing with envy. "Help! I have a life, Eira. You're the saint, not me." She turned away, leaving me with Mom's fading pulse, her words a wound that never healed. Ruth resented my role, my bond with Mom, and that envy fueled her cruelty then and now. The memory stings, pulling me back to the barn. My fingers linger on the hearth's rough stone, its warmth a contrast to the cold loneliness of those nights. I see Ruth now, her laugh masking the same insecurity, her taunts a desperate bid to outshine me. Sadness settles heavy, but it shifts to empathy. She's hurting too, trapped in her own fear of being less, and that pain drives her to wound me. "Have you with me?" Walter's voice breaks through his flannel, brushing my arm as he stands close. His gray eyes are steady, but there's an edge like he's holding back a plan. "Just..." Remembering, I say, my voice thick, the hearth's glow softening the ache. "Ruth wasn't always like this. She's angry, Walter, because I was there for Mom and she wasn't." He nods, his hand on mine. Doesn't give her the right to tear you down, he says, his voice low, fierce. But you're seeing her clear now. That's strength. Strength, I ask, a bitter laugh escaping. I feel broken. You're not, he says, his grip tightening. You're compassionate, Ev. That's why you're still here, still fighting for this family. His words stir something empathy, not just for Ruth, but for myself, for the years I carried alone. I think of Mom, her belief in love's power to mend even when it hurts. Ruth's envy is a wound, but understanding it might bridge the gap between us. Norman's voice cuts through low intent, speaking to a neighbor. The bank's breathing down my neck, he mutters, his hand rubbing his neck. This Gala's a front, but it's not enough. His words are a crack in his facade, a hint of financial strain that explains his silence, his need to prop up Ruth's cruelty. I glance at Walter, who's heard it too, his eyes narrowing. He's in trouble, Walter whispers. That's part of this, Ev. Hold on. The hearth's warmth steadies me, but Norman's admission sparks a question. What's he hiding? It's more than money, it's tied to Ruth, to Clara, to this rift. The Gala swirls on, but I'm rooted empathy and sadness mingling, ready to face what's next. In my mind, I'm still with Mom, her care a burden. I bore alone its stress, a shadow that lingers. I see it in the women here over 55, their quiet sacrifices dismissed by families too busy to see. Caregiving's toll is a shared loneliness, but empathy for Ruth, for myself, lights a path forward. The barn's hush deepens its flickering string lights, casting jagged shadows across the Montana night. Frost seals the windows, a crystalline barrier to the November cold, while the hearth's embers glow faintly, their warmth barely reaching the pine tables strewn with pie tins and wine stains. The Thanksgiving Gala's energy has drained, leaving a tense quiet, the air heavy with wood smoke and the ghost of sage. A few guests linger, their murmurs soft, unaware of the storm brewing in our family's corner. I stand near the hearth, Mom's locket, a steady weight at my neck, Clara's note still burning in my pocket. Ruth's envy laid bare by her taunts, and Clara's confession has carved a raw wound. But Norman's muttered hint of financial trouble, overheard by the hearth, gnaws at me. Ruth is nearby, her red dress dimmed in the low light, her laugh brittle as she chats with a neighbor. Norman stands apart, his suit crumpled, his face drawn like a man carrying a weight too heavy to hide. "Eira, you're still sulking," Ruth calls, her voice sharp, slicing through the quiet. "Move on, dear. It's just a little family spat." Her smirk is forced, her eyes darting to Norman, who avoids her gaze. Before I can respond, Norman stumbles forward, his glass slipping from his hand, shattering on the floor. The crowd gasps, heads turning, and the barn's hush tightens. "I can't do this anymore," he mutters, his voice hoarse, cracking. He slumps against a table, his hands gripping the edge, his face ashen. "Norman, what's wrong?" I ask, stepping closer, my heart pounding. Walter's at my side, his flannel brushing my arm, his gray eyes narrowed but steady. Norman's head drops, his shoulders shaking. "It's all a lie," he says louder now, his voice raw. "The Gala, my deal's everything. I'm broke, Eira. The bank's taking it all, our house, the store. I pushed Ruth to hurt you to make us look better because I couldn't face this shame." Shock hits me like a gust of winter wind, stealing my breath. The Gala funds my caregiving savings quietly donated weren't Norman's triumph, but a desperate front to hide his ruin, his belittling his silence. It was all to deflect his failure, not just arrogance. The crowd murmurs, stunned, their eyes wide, but Ruth's face pales, her hands trembling as she steps back. "Norman, stop," she hisses, her voice low, panicked. "You're embarrassing us." "No, Ruth," he says, his head lifting, eyes wet. "I'm done pretending. Eira, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this. Your strength. It shamed me, and I couldn't handle it." My chest tightens, shock giving way to pity. Norman's not the villain I thought, just a man broken by pride, lashing out to hide his fall. I see Mom in my mind, her frail hand in mine, her lesson. Honesty heals even when it hurts. I step forward, my hand outstretched, offering not judgment, but support. "You don't have to carry this alone," I say, my voice soft, steady. "We're family, Norman. We'll figure it out." He looks at me, tears falling, and takes my hand, his grip weak but real. The crowd watches hushed, some nodding, others whispering. Walter's hand rests on my shoulder, his nod a silent approval. Ruth stands frozen, her eyes darting between us, her mask cracking. Will she confess her part in this? In my mind, I'm alone again, the barn's warmth fading, loneliness creeping in. Norman's shame mirrors my own unthanked years with Mom, the caregiving stress that isolates us both. I see it in the crowd, the overfaggies who faced failure, debt dismissal, their struggles hidden behind smiles. Norman's honesty, painful as it is, restores his dignity and mine too. I think of Mom's hearth, its glow a symbol of generosity, like the Thanksgiving spirit that binds this community. Norman's collapse isn't the end. It's a start, a truth that might mend us. I choose support over blame, honesty over silence, hoping it reaches Ruth too. The barn holds its breath. The crowd's eyes on Ruth. Her silence screams louder than her taunts, and I know this isn't over. Will Ruth confess? The question hangs a spark in the dark, pulling me toward the truth. The barn's air grows thick, a heavy silence swallowing the last murmurs of the Thanksgiving Gala. Frost coats the windows, turning them into milky shields against the Montana night's biting cold, while the string lights flicker their glow faint against the darkened beams. Pine tables stand abandoned, littered with pie crumbs and empty glasses, the hearth's embers barely alive, casting a dim red pulse. The scent of yai and wood smoke lingers, but it's the silence, sharp, expectant, that triggers my racing heart, a sound louder than any clink of glasses or guitar twang. I stand in the center of the barn, Mom's locket, a steady weight at my neck, my breath visible in the frosty air. Norman's confession, his financial ruin, the Gala funds being mine, still rings in my ears, his shame a crack in the family's facade. Ruth is before me. Her red dress dulled her face pale under the flickering lights. Her eyes dart to Norman, slumped nearby his suit, a crumpled shell, then to Clara, who's returned her scarf loose, her gaze fixed on the floor. The crowd watches, hushed their faces, a blur of shock and curiosity. "Ruth," I say, my voice cutting through the silence, steady but burning with fury. "Enough lies. Norman's told the truth. Your money didn't fund this gala. Mine did, from years of saving while I cared for Mom. Why have you been tearing me down?" "What are you hiding?" The barn holds its breath, the silence deafening a trigger, amplifying every word. Ruth's smirk falters, her hands clenching her wineglass, but she straightens her voice icy. "Don't be ridiculous, Eira," she snaps. "You're twisting things, playing the victim again. This is Norman's mess, not mine." "Stop," I say, stepping closer, my hands trembling but my stance tall. "Clara's note. Norman's truth, it all points to you. You've hated me since Mom's illness, haven't you?" "Because I was there and you weren't." "Say it, Ruth. Be honest for once." The crowd gasps, a low ripple, but Ruth's face hardens, her eyes blazing. "Honest," she scoffs, her voice rising. "You're the one who made me look bad. Eira, always the perfect daughter. I had a life, a family. I couldn't drop everything like you did." Her words sting, but they confirm what I've suspected, her envy, her insecurity rooted in those unthanked nights I spent with Mom. Fury surges hot and sharp, but I push it down, seeking justice, not revenge. Mom's voice whispers, "Truth heals, Eira. I want answers, not destruction. You chose to stay away," I say, my voice low, unwavering. "I carried Mom alone." "Ruth, you could have helped, but you didn't. Why punish me for it now?" Walter steps beside me, his flannel warm against my arm, his gray eyes fierce. "She's right, Ruth," he says, his voice calm but unyielding. "This Gala's, Eira's doing her savings, her heart. You owe her the truth." Clara shifts her eyes wet, but she stays silent, her scarf twisted in her hands. Norman lifts his head, his voice weak. "Ruth, tell her," he says, his shame raw. "It's time." Ruth's face crumples, her glass trembling, but she shakes her head, her voice a hiss. "There's nothing to tell," she lies, her eyes darting to the crowd, to Clara, to Norman. "You're all against me, aren't you?" The silence tightens, the crowd's eyes locked on us, their community toast, forgotten glasses still raised. I see their faces, Mrs. Larson, Mr. Hayes' neighbors who've known us for decades, and their quiet support steadies me. This isn't just my fight. It's for every woman here over 55 whose caregiving was dismissed, whose loneliness went unseen. In my mind, I'm back with Mom, her frail hand in mine, the nights I bore alone while Ruth fled. The locket's weight reminds me of that sacrifice, the stress that shaped me, a burden shared by so many. Ruth's denial fuels my fury, but I choose dialogue, not destruction. Justice means truth, not pain. You're hurting, Ruth, I say, my voice softening, though fury lingers. I see it. But lying won't fix it. Tell me why. Let's end this. Ruth's eyes flicker a crack in her armor, but she turns away, her silence a wall. Will she yield? The question hangs a spark in the frosty air, pulling me toward the final truth. I stand tall. Walter's hand on my shoulder, the crowd's gaze a quiet strength. The truth is close, and I'm ready to face it whatever it costs. The barn's silence echoes a promise of justice, not revenge. The barn's tension eases its quiet wrapping around me like a soft blanket in the late Montana night. The hearth glows steadily now, its warm light pushing back the frost that rims the windows, a faint barrier to the November cold. String lights hum faintly, casting a golden haze over pine tables cluttered with pie tins and forgotten glasses. The air carries wood smoke and a hint of sage, a lingering echo of the Thanksgiving Gala's faded warmth. The crowd has dwindled, a few neighbors murmuring near the buffet, their voices low, unaware of the seismic shift in our family's heart. I stand by the hearth, Mom's locket cool against my chest, Clara's note and Norman's confession heavy in my mind. Ruth's denial, her refusal to face her envy stings. But Norman's broken truth has cracked her armor. She's across the barn, her red dress a muted shadow, her hands twisting a napkin, her eyes avoiding mine. Norman sits nearby, his head bowed, his suit a crumpled testament to his shame. Clara hovers close, her scarf loose, her gaze flickering between us, hopeful yet wary. I pull my journal from my apron pocket, its worn pages a record of my years with Mom, my caregiving, my silence. I've kept it hidden, a shield against Ruth's barbs, but tonight it's a mirror. I open it, my fingers trembling, and read a passage from Mom's final months. Ruth called today, angry. I'm always here. I stayed quiet, let her lash out. Maybe I should have spoken, but I thought silence was love. The words hit like a stone, my silence. My choice to absorb Ruth's anger enabled her cruelty, didn't it? Guilt surges sharp and cold, a twist I didn't see coming. I've blamed Ruth, Norman, even Clara, but I'm part of this rift too. My silence, meant to protect, gave Ruth room to wound me, to erase my sacrifices. The realization stuns me, my breath catching, as I clutch the journal, my eyes meeting Ruth's across the barn. Ruth, I say, my voice soft but clear, cutting through the quiet. I need to say something. I've been wrong too. I stayed silent when you hurt me, thinking it'd keep the peace. But it didn't. It let you think I was weak, and I'm sorry for that. The barn stills, the crowd's murmurs, fading, their eyes turning to us. Ruth's face tightens, her napkin shredding in her hands. But she doesn't speak, her silence a wall. Clara steps closer, her eyes wet, her voice barely a whisper. Aunt Ev? You're not weak, she says, her hand brushing mine. Walter stands beside me, his flannel warm, his gray eyes steady. You're owning your part, Ev, he says, his voice low, proud. That's strength. Ruth, it's your turn. Ruth's eyes flicker a storm of emotions, guilt, fear, defiance, but she stays silent. Her lips press thin. Norman lifts his head, his voice raw. Ruth, please, he says. We've hurt her enough. I close the journal, my hands steady now, the truth settling over me like the hearth's glow. I've carried unacknowledged sacrifices, Mom's care, my silence, and they've isolated me. A loneliness I share with so many here over 55, who've given everything for family unseen. But admitting my fault, choosing forgiveness, frees me. I don't need Ruth's confession to heal. I need to focus on myself, to let go of the pain I've held too long. Ruth, I forgive you, I say, my voice firm, tears pricking my eyes. Not because you've asked, but because I need peace. I hope you find it too. The crowd murmurs, some nodding, others whispering their support, a quiet strength. Clara's hand tightens on mine, her tears falling. But Ruth stays frozen, her silence louder than any words. Can they reconcile? The question lingers, a fragile hope in the barn's warmth. In my mind, I'm with Mom, her frail smile, a light in the dark. She taught me forgiveness, not for others, but for myself, to free my heart from pain. I see it in the women here, their quiet struggles, their unthanked years. Caregiving's toll is a shared loneliness, but self-focus, owning my silence, forgiving Ruth, lights a path forward. The hearth glows a symbol of hope, and I stand ready, Walter and Clara beside me. Ruth's silence is her choice, but mine is peace, a step toward healing our family's wounds. The barn breathes with a gentle warmth, its hearth glowing steadily as dawn's first light slips through the frosted windows, softening the Montana night's lingering chill. The string lights hum faintly, their golden glow dancing across pine tables cluttered with pie tins and wine glasses, the remnants of a Thanksgiving gala now fading into memory. The air carries wood smoke and a hint of sage mingling with the savory scent of turkey leftovers packed for neighbors, a U.S. tradition of holiday generosity. The crowd has gone, leaving only our family, the barn's quiet a canvas for healing or heartbreak. I stand by the hearth, Mom's locket warm against my chest, my journal tucked away after its revelation, my silence fueled Ruth's cruelty. Ruth's refusal to confess stung, but my forgiveness born of self-focus freed me from guilt. She's across the barn, her red dress creased her face, softened no longer a mask of defiance. Norman sits beside her, his suit rumpled his eyes, weary but lighter after his truth. Clara hovers near her scarf, draped loosely, her gaze hopeful, her earlier tears replaced by a tentative smile. Eira Ruth says, her voice low, trembling, breaking the barn's hush. She steps forward, her hands twisting, her eyes meeting mine for the first time tonight. I'm sorry. You were right. I was jealous of you, of your bond with Mom. I couldn't face my failure, so I hurt you. I'm so sorry. The words land softly, a balm to wounds I've carried too long. Relief washes over me, warm as the hearth's glow, and I nod, tears pricking my eyes. Thank you, Ruth, I say, my voice steady, thick with emotion. I forgive you. Let's move forward together. Clara rushes to me, her arms wrapping around me in a silent hug, a scene that needs no words. Her warmth, her quiet strength mends a piece of my heart. Walter joins us, his flannel brushing my arm, his gray eyes bright with pride. You did it, Ev, he whispers, his hand on my shoulder. Ruth hesitates, then steps closer, her eyes wet. Can we try again? She asks, her voice small, vulnerable. I open my arms and she steps in her embrace. Awkward but real, a first step toward reconciliation. Norman stands his nod, a quiet promise to support his shame, no longer a barrier. Let's hike tomorrow, Clara says, her voice bright, breaking the tearful quiet. All of us like we used to up to the ridge. Start fresh. The family nods, murmurs of agreement, rising a plan to rebuild what's been broken. I touch the hearth, its stone warm, a symbol of the home we're reclaiming. In my mind, I'm with Mom, her frail smile, a light in the dark, her belief in family bonds guiding me here. I've honored her tonight, not just in forgiveness, but in hope, in the joy of this moment. Hold on, Clara says, pulling out her phone. Let's take a selfie. I laugh, still clumsy with tech, but she guides my hand, her patience a gift. The screen flashes, capturing us, me, Ruth, Clara, Norman, Walter, smiling, imperfect but together. The tech struggle, once a source of shame, now binds us, a small victory in our healing. Caregiving's toll lingers, the stress of those unthanked nights with Mom, a shadow I share with so many women here over 55 whose sacrifices went unseen. But tonight, I'm seen by Ruth's apology, Clara's hug, Walter's pride. Loneliness fades, replaced by the warmth of family, a peace I've fought for. Let's clean up, I say, my voice light, and we move together, stacking plates, sharing quiet laughs. The barn feels alive again, its hearth a beacon of hope. I think of Mom, her love enduring through pain, and know she's smiling now. Family bonds, frayed but strong, have triumphed, and I'm whole. In my mind, I write to Mom, my heart full. We're okay, Mom. I forgave, and they came back. Thank you. The hearth glows, and I join Clara, ready for tomorrow's hike, for a future built on love. As we hug by the hearth, hope blooms our family whole again. Forgiveness healed our rifts. Resilience carried me through pain and dialogue, rebuilt trust where envy once stood. Ruth's apology, born of her own shame, taught me love endures through understanding. Like many over 55, I've known caregiving's lonely weight, but tonight we're seen. Reflect on your family's story, and let compassion guide you home.